Hello, I'm Dr. CESAR Vargas, Executive Director for Mente Inc., NLP trainer, and author of Your Life is Your Masterpiece. And I'd like to talk to you about your money mindset. Elevate your mindset and elevate your income. And I'd like to start with the meaning of money, your formula for compensation. Compensation, earning money, is a function of three factors: the service or value that you provide, how well you provide it, and the degree of difficulty in replacing you in the provision of that service. Let's talk about each of these. First of all, the service or value that you provide. As we'll see in just a moment, you get paid based on the value that you provide someone else. When you think about it, where does money come from? Well, other people, other organizations, other companies, but in general, people exchange money for what? For a product or a service. And people don't buy a product, people don't buy a service, people don't buy translations or interpretation service. They buy value, the value that you provide, and how much that service, that product, is valued. And we often talk about how unfair it is that an artist, an actor, a sports person, a sports figure makes millions and millions of dollars, of euros, and they're not more valuable than a school teacher, than a doctor, than somebody else that's taking care of your children. That's valuable. But we're not considering the other two factors of earning money. So, how much value is it for someone, for example, to clean your house? Well, if you don't have to clean your house and you pay someone to clean your house, you can use that time, that energy, that effort to make money, to create, to provide value that is more valuable to other people. So it makes sense to pay someone to clean your house, but if you're not making at least how much you're paying that person to clean your house, then it doesn't make sense to pay someone to clean your house. If you're paying someone to wash your car, for example, well, if you have the time and you don't have the extra money to pay for someone to wash your car, then you do it, because it's not worth paying someone to wash your car when you're not earning more in that period of time. So how valuable is the service that you provide? Well, to you, you might say it's invaluable, it's priceless. But how much is someone willing to pay for it? That's the true market value. Let's take a doctor, for example. Keeping your health is important. That is valuable. That's why doctors, depending on countries and situations, etc., doctors make relatively more money than the general population in most areas. So that is a valuable service that a doctor, a medical doctor, provides. Then the second factor is how well is that service provided? How well do you provide that service? A doctor that is well known in the industry, a doctor that has decades of experience, well, that is more valuable than a new doctor in general terms. So why does a surgeon make more money than a general practitioner? Because dealing with general medical issues, a general practitioner, is more common than a surgeon, a brain surgeon, for example. So it's more valuable to operate on a brain than to dispense medication or look after other illnesses in general in a patient. And then there are degrees of brain doctors. You have a lot of brain doctors, and then you have those eminences, those people who are well renowned in the brain surgery industry. And of course, they make more money. And finally, the degree of difficulty in replacing you in the provision of that service. So a common argument I hear is, why does X football player, soccer player, makes millions of dollars when this teacher, the school teacher, makes X amount of dollars? Well, it's based on these three factors: the service or the value that they provide. Of course, education is priceless. But this person, this teacher, is affecting the lives of 25 people, or if they're a high school teacher, maybe 200 students throughout their day. So at most, they're affecting the lives of 200 people. A well-known soccer player, Messi or Ronaldo or whomever, they affect the lives of millions of people. They inspire kids to play. They inspire soccer fans to go to the stadium. Now, how well they provide the service? A general teacher, they're okay. They meet certain standards and they provide an adequate service. Now, compare that to an excellent soccer player, and they are excellent at the game of soccer. So, how well they provide that service is measured in how much they earn. And finally, the degree of difficulty in replacing you, this person, this teacher, versus this soccer player, in the provision of that service. Well, there are a lot of teachers graduating from university each and every year, so it's relatively easier to replace a teacher than it is to replace a Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, or a Messi. They're irreplaceable in that sense. So the lesson for you is, how do you increase the value, the perceived value that you are providing for that client, for that end user? So how well you provide that service, increasing your skills and abilities and that knowledge in the provision of that service, and then making it hard for them to replace you. So if it's a conference and your name is in the program, well, it's pretty hard to replace you since your name is already in the program. Now let's talk about some beliefs about money. We know that money in and of itself has no meaning. We talked about this. It's the exchange of value. Money is just pieces of paper. Nowadays, it's just ones and zeros in computers and a central bank somewhere. That's what money is. Money in itself has no value. We assign it value. So before money was invented, of course, we had the barter system. We traded this for that. We traded goods for other goods or goods for services. If I had a cow and you were a doctor and then you could help my child get better, I might pay you with a cow. But if you were just dispensing medication, a cow might be too much, but a couple of chickens would be a good barter exchange for that service. But it was difficult to ascertain value. How much is one cow worth versus 3 chickens or a pig or providing this or that service? So then coins were invented by taking precious metals like silver and gold. But it was difficult to carry around large amounts of gold and silver. So what the banks did was to make bank notes that said, this is worth this many pieces of gold or silver. And then gold was kept in a bank, in a vault. But since 1933, the dollar was not backed by gold. You know what backs our money nowadays, right? It's right there. It's in the money itself. It's trust. In God we trust. So it's not backed by gold. We're just hoping, trusting God that this money is going to be good. We also have what's called a money thermostat. You know, a regular thermostat from your home. And this thermostat is based on our beliefs, what we believe about our worth, about the value that we're providing, etc. And these are our conscious and subconscious beliefs that we have about money. And one thing to consider, speaking of subconscious beliefs, is that over 90% of what goes on around us is beyond our awareness. So our subconscious beliefs are very, very important in determining what we believe we are worth, our services are worth, etc. And the psychologist Carl Jung said, until you make the subconscious conscious, it will drive your life and you will call it destiny. So our beliefs, especially the subconscious beliefs, drive our life. And we just think it's destiny. We're meant to live this way or do that or do whatever. Now, there are three main beliefs about money. One that we've heard for a long, long time is that money is the root of all evil. Well, it does not say that. What it actually says is that the love of money, and it is a root, not the root, but a root of all kinds of evil. But the verse doesn't end there. The verse continues and says, because of this craving, some people have wandered away from the faith. Well, if you take the love of money and you wander away from that faith, of course that is the root of evil. Another subconscious belief that we may hold is that I do not deserve it. I do not deserve this money. Now this, of course, is a subconscious belief. Consciously we know and we think and we want more money, more luxury, more this and that. But subconsciously we may think that we do not believe it. A good question to ask yourself is, how great can I stand it? How much goodness could I receive and be comfortable with it? Before I think it's too much, I don't deserve it. I shouldn't be making this much if somebody else doesn't have enough. And there are many subconscious beliefs that go along this line. And we just don't have the time to explore this in this short video. But do explore and think about what might be those conscious beliefs that are holding you back, especially along the lines of deservedness. Another subconscious belief that people hold is that I am afraid to fail. And more strange, so to speak, I am afraid to succeed. There is such a thing as fear of success. We all talk about fear of failure, we're afraid to fail, but there's also a fear of success that might be holding you back. When you think about success, when you meditate about success, how much is too much? When you think about having a lot of things and you really ponder and think of the day to day, how would your day be if you had massive success? If you start thinking of negative things, negative thoughts, or you have a negative feeling, that's a sign that you may have a fear of success hidden there somewhere. And of course, this is another subconscious belief because it talks about the fear of the unknown. You don't know what the future might bring, good or bad. So that because of that fear, you might be holding yourself back subconsciously. So one way you can overcome this is to simply enjoy the moment. Enjoy what you have right now, where you are in your current situation, and go from there. So what is money? So let's go back to the meaning of money. As we talked about, money is just a means of exchange. You provide something and you get something in return. It's an exchange of value. Now, question for you. Who decides what value is? Obviously, the person paying for it. Take a piece of art, for example. Why is one piece of art worth millions of dollars while another one is just worth hundreds of dollars or tens of dollars or nothing? So partially, the person paying for that value decides what that value is. And your job is to help the other person see that your service, your product, or whatever you are offering is valuable enough to command the price that you are asking. So your value is what you bring. What are you bringing to the table? Besides that deliverable, that conference interpretation, that translation, that manual, that book that you're working on, that is its product itself. But what is the intrinsic value? What do you provide in addition to that, because we don't want to be a commodity. Of course, you know, a commodity is something like wheat, like corn, or something that's sold that it makes no difference between one provider or another. If I buy a ton of wheat from you, how is that different from a ton of wheat from your competition? If you can't distinguish yourself from your competition, you become a commodity. And ultimately, the person buying, the market in this case, decides what you're worth, decides what the value is. So, what else are you providing? What is the ultimate value that you are providing to your end user? So, your value is what you bring. I had this client a few years back, and he kept hiring me to interpret at this conference that he was having, and he brought me back again and again because what I brought to him was peace of mind. All he had to do was tell me, hey, we have this conference, this is the date, the location, and then you take care of bringing the other interpreters, bringing the equipment and everything. So I provided for him peace of mind. All he had to do was make one phone call, send one email, and give me the information, and that's it. I took care of the rest. So he paid me a little bit above the norm, more than he would have paid hundreds of other people, because I provided more than just an interpretation service. I provided peace of mind. And what you have to do is make it evident in your language. So when you are talking to this person, just keep reassuring in your language, in your email, in your conversations, how you're taking care of this. It's all taken care of. You don't have to worry about this. Just relax, I got this. So use your language in a way to instill in the person, creating in that person images and feelings of what you're providing. In my case was peace of mind. In your case, it might be your expertise. It might be your international experience. Whatever you bring is what you want to make evident to your particular client. So consider ways in which you can communicate to your client the value that you are offering. So what is the value that you are offering? Who are you really? What is your USP? What is your unique selling proposition? What sets you apart from the rest? Like I said before, don't be a commodity, be a precious stone, be something that stands out, a person above the rest. So the question for you is, are you one in a million or are you one of a million? Let that sink in. Are you one in a million or are you just one of a million other possibilities? What value do you bring that no one else can bring? And when you figure that out, you highlight that in your CV, in your website, in your cover letter, and in every conversation that you have with your client. There's a saying in business, always be closing. ABC, ABC, always be closing. So I'd like to adapt that now to ABCV. Always be confirming value. Even after you have the client, even after you've had this regular or recurring client for a long time, just keep reassuring in your emails, in your conversation, the value that you're providing. Now, don't make it braggadocious or anything. Just make it matter of fact. This is what you have, and just don't even mention it directly as much all the time. But just in your language, subtly, just bring up the fact that he doesn't have to worry about it, that she's taken care of, that all this is good to go. Just make that evident in your every communication in subtle ways. So that's what I have for you. I hope this helps you to elevate your mindset and elevate your income. Now, some additional resources that you might want to consider is the book I mentioned earlier, Your Life is Your Masterpiece, Practical Tips to Design Your Life with Purpose. It's available in Amazon.com. It's available on the web as well, yourlifeisyourmasterpiece.com. And you can email me any questions that you may have at cesar@menteinc.com. And on Facebook, you can find me at Cesar Vargas Coach. I hope this helps you to elevate your mindset and elevate your income. I'm Dr. Cesar Vargas, and just have a great day.